Hey everyone, welcome back to the Car Review, where we dive deep into the most exciting machines shaping the future of driving. And today, Ford just did something nobody saw coming. The legendary Galaxy 500 nameplate is back for 2026, that's right. One of Ford's most iconic muscle cars from the golden era of the 60s has been reborn. But this isn't just a nostalgia play. Ford has built what might be the perfect modern muscle car, blending retro design cues with cutting-edge performance. Let's break it down. The first thing you notice is the design, because Ford nailed the balance between classic and modern. The front end features a bold horizontal grille inspired by the original Galaxy, flanked by slim LED headlights with a throwback circular signature lighting element. The hood is long, sculpted, and carries subtle power bulges that hint at what's underneath. From the side, you get a true fastback profile, long roofline, muscular rear haunches, and 20-inch staggered wheels that fill the arches perfectly. Around back, the taillights are a direct nod to the 60s, with triple round LEDs that look futuristic yet unmistakably retro. Ford even brought back the Galaxy script badging, tying the whole design together. Step inside, and you'll see, this is no stripped-down muscle car. The cabin is a driver's dream. Premium leather and Alcantara wrap the seats, dash, and doors, while brushed aluminum and carbon fiber accents give it a performance edge. The centerpiece is a massive curved digital display that stretches across the dash. Combining a 14-inch digital gauge cluster with a 15-inch infotainment system running Ford's latest Sync 6, you get wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, 5G connectivity, and even AI-powered voice control. And for audiophiles, Ford partnered with Bang & Olufsen to create a 20-speaker surround system that makes this muscle car sound like a concert hall. But let's be real. You don't bring back the Galaxy name unless you've got the muscle to back it up. And Ford absolutely delivers. Under the hood, the 2026 Galaxy 500 packs a 5.2-liter supercharged V8, putting out a jaw-dropping 720 horsepower and 690 pound-feet of torque. That makes it one of the most powerful muscle cars Ford has ever built. 0 to 60 comes in just 3.3 seconds, and top speed? Over 200 miles per hour with the performance package. Power is sent through a 7-speed dual-clutch transmission with rear-wheel drive standard. For those who want ultimate control, Ford also offers a 6-speed manual option, a rare gift in today's market. The chassis is equally impressive. Adaptive magnetic dampers, electronic limited-slip differential, and massive Brembo carbon ceramic brakes make sure this beast handles just as well as it accelerates. Driving modes let you switch from comfortable cruiser to track monster at the push of a button. And with launch control, line lock, and drag strip timers, the Galaxy 500 is more than ready to dominate both the street and the strip. On the road, early impressions say it feels raw, emotional, and alive. Everything a muscle car should be, but with the refinement of a modern GT. It's the kind of car that makes every drive an event. Safety and driver assistance are fully loaded, with adaptive cruise, blind spot monitoring, lane keeping assist, and a 360-degree camera system. But Ford knows enthusiasts don't want electronics interfering, so most of these systems can be dialed back or switched off completely. Now for the price. The 2026 Ford Galaxy 500 starts at around $75,000, with high-performance trims pushing closer to $95,000. That positions it right against the Dodge Challenger SRT Demon 170, Chevy Camaro ZL1, and even the BMW M4 competition. But with its retro appeal, modern tech, and monstrous performance, the Galaxy 500 might just outshine them all. So here's the bottom line. The 2026 Ford Galaxy 500 isn't just a revival. It's a celebration of muscle car history, re-engineered for a new era. It's fast, it's loud, it's stylish, and it proves that Ford still knows how to make a car that stirs the soul. What do you think? Did Ford just build the perfect modern muscle car? Or is it too much nostalgia in a modern world? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this first look, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss our next deep dive. Thanks for watching The Car Review. Until next time, drive safe, drive fast, and always drive something that excites you. Imagine this. One of Dodge's most iconic names from the past, suddenly roaring back to life in 2026. Not as an overpriced collector's car, not as a limited edition toy, but as something you could actually afford to drive. That's exactly what Dodge has done with the all-new Dart Swinger. It's bold, it's different, and it promises to put muscle car thrills back within reach for everyday drivers. But here's the twist. Does the Dart Swinger carry enough firepower to deserve its legendary badge, or is Dodge just cashing in on nostalgia? Let's find out. For decades, Dodge has been the brand that built its reputation on attitude. From the Charger and Challenger to the Viper, they've always leaned into power, style, and a little bit of rebellion. But the Dart, that was the car that proved you didn't need a massive paycheck to enjoy the Dodge spirit. Affordable, compact, but with enough muscle to keep things fun, it was the gateway to Dodge performance for thousands of drivers. Now, in 2026, the Dart Swinger returns. And it's not a coincidence. The US market is at a crossroads. Sports cars are shrinking in numbers, SUVs dominate sales charts, and affordable performance feels like a dying breed. Dodge believes there's still a place for a car that mixes style, speed, and value. The question is, can the Dart Swinger carve out that space, or will it just get lost in a market obsessed with bigger, pricier machines? Stick with me, because in the next few minutes, we'll explore whether this car is truly the rebirth of affordable muscle, or just another chapter in Dodge's long playbook of nostalgia. Let's start with the looks, because Dodge clearly wanted the Dart Swinger to make a statement. The design pulls from classic cues without turning into a full retro throwback. The front grille has a strong, squared-off look, flanked by modern LED signatures that make it instantly recognizable at night. The profile is compact, tight, and muscular, like it's always ready to spring forward. And those rear haunches? They scream Dodge performance DNA, even if the proportions are slimmer than the big-bodied Charger. Step inside, and you'll notice Dodge's balancing act. Affordability, with just enough tech to feel modern. A crisp digital cluster, a clean infotainment screen with wireless CarPlay and Android Auto, and materials that are more durable than plush. This isn't meant to impress luxury buyers. It's meant to connect with drivers who care about the road. The layout is straightforward, the seats are supportive, and everything feels designed around the driver, not the passengers. Sure, the back row is snug, but this isn't meant to be a family hauler. It's about getting behind the wheel and enjoying the drive. And speaking of driving, this is where things start heating up. Dodge is offering two engine options, a turbo 4-cylinder and a naturally aspirated V6. The 4-cylinder is efficient, delivering solid mileage without feeling sluggish, while the V6 brings the attitude. Fire it up, and you get that throaty growl Dodge fans love, paired with acceleration that's more than enough to satisfy the muscle itch. We're not talking Hellcat numbers here, but we're also not talking Hellcat prices. It's about accessible fun, and that's where the Swinger nails its purpose. Handling is another surprise. Thanks to a lighter body and tuned suspension, the Dart Swinger feels far more agile than its old-school counterparts. It grips in corners, it responds quickly to steering inputs, and it doesn't punish you on rough roads. Think of it less like a brute force muscle car and more like a fun, affordable performance coupe with real personality. That shift alone could make it appealing to a whole new generation of drivers who've never owned a Dodge before. Still, the compromises are clear. Tight rear space, a trunk that's good but not great, and the lack of a V8 will definitely disappoint purists. Dodge knows this, but what they're betting on is that younger buyers will care less about bragging rights and more about balance. A car that's stylish, fast enough, and, most importantly, within budget. And the budget is exactly where the story takes its biggest turn. Take it out on the road, and the Dart Swinger shows its true colors. Around town, the Turbo 4 feels eager and smooth, but it's the V6 that really puts on a show. Drop the pedal and it jumps forward with the kind of urgency you don't expect in this price range. The sound, the responsiveness, the way it hugs the pavement through corners. It doesn't feel like an economy car dressed up in muscle clothing. It feels alive, and that's something Dodge has struggled to deliver in recent years outside its big-ticket models. And then comes the jaw-drop moment, the price reveal. While competitors in the sporty, compact, and entry performance category are creeping toward luxury car money, Dodge has planted the Dart Swinger squarely in the attainable bracket. You're looking at real performance and bold design for thousands less than you'd spend on a Mustang or Camaro, and way less than most modern performance EVs. It's a play that could shake up the market or fall flat if buyers don't buy into Dodge's new direction. This is the turning point. The Dart Swinger isn't trying to be the fastest or the flashiest. It's trying to prove that muscle car spirit doesn't have to die in the age of overpriced performance. The real question is, will buyers see it as a rebirth or as a watered-down memory of what muscle once was? So here's the bottom line. The 2026 Dodge Dart Swinger is not the perfect muscle car. It won't win drag strips, it won't blow your doors off with horsepower, and it won't convince purists who think V8s are the only way forward. But what it does offer is something far rarer in today's market. A performance car that's actually within reach for everyday Americans. For first-time buyers, younger drivers, or anyone who just wants a fun daily driver with Dodge attitude, the Swinger delivers exactly what it promises. Affordable muscle with real character. On the flip side, if you're a die-hard Dodge fan who lives for burnout competitions and quarter-mile times, this isn't the car for you. And Dodge seems fine with that. Because the Swinger isn't meant to replace the Charger or Challenger, it's meant to expand the idea of what Dodge performance can be, and maybe that's its biggest impact. At a time when crossovers dominate and affordable performance feels almost extinct, Dodge is sending a message. Driving fun doesn't have to disappear. If the Swinger succeeds, it could push other automakers to rethink how they build entry-level performance cars. If it fails, it'll just be another nostalgic experiment. Either way, it's a bold move, and bold moves are exactly what keep the car world exciting. So, what do you think? Has Dodge just reignited the spark of affordable American muscle, or is this too little, too late? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear if you'd actually buy one of these. And if you enjoyed this review, hit that like button, subscribe for more deep dives into the latest cars, and share this with a fellow gearhead who still believes driving should be fun. Because at the end of the day, cars like the Dart Swinger remind us why we fell in love with muscle in the first place. Every car enthusiast knows the Pontiac GTO, the Firebird, the Trans Am, but how many of you remember the Tempest? Once the quiet underdog of Pontiac's lineup, it was the car that lit the fuse for the muscle car revolution back in the 60s. And now, after decades of silence, the Tempest name is roaring back to life in 2026. But here's the twist. This isn't just a retro throwback. It's a reinvention. The question is, can a forgotten muscle classic really stand tall in today's performance world, or will history repeat itself? The Pontiac Tempest originally launched in the early 1960s as a small, affordable performance sedan. It was scrappy, experimental, and it pushed boundaries in ways that most people forget. Without the Tempest, there might never have been a GTO. But over the years, the name vanished into obscurity, overshadowed by Pontiac's bigger icons, and eventually buried when the Pontiac brand itself was retired. Now, fast forward to 2026, and GM is pulling a bold move, reviving the Tempest name as part of Pontiac's limited rebirth strategy. Instead of chasing luxury EVs or trying to outgun Dodge with pure horsepower, the new Tempest aims to strike a balance: heritage muscle design, modern tech, and a price point that's actually within reach. That's what makes this car so important. In a market where affordable fun cars are dying, Pontiac is betting that nostalgia plus accessibility is the formula car fans have been waiting for. But does the 2026 Tempest live up to that legacy? Let's see what it really brings to the table. From the moment you see it, the new Tempest feels like a revival done right. The bodywork blends sharp modern lines with subtle cues from Pontiac's past. The split grille is back, redesigned with bold LED light signatures. The stance is wide, low, and muscular without looking bloated. Around back, squared taillights and a ducktail spoiler pay tribute to the classic era. But it doesn't look like a retro costume. It looks like a modern car with roots you can actually see. Inside, Pontiac went with a driver-first approach. You won't find a luxury lounge here, but you will find a cockpit that feels focused and fun. A digital gauge cluster puts performance stats front and center. The infotainment screen is wide and responsive, with all the modern connectivity buyers expect. The seats are supportive, with sporty bolstering that hints at weekend fun while still being comfortable enough for daily drives. Hard plastics do appear in some trim levels, but that's how Pontiac keeps costs under control. Performance is where the new Tempest surprises. Pontiac offers two engine choices, a turbocharged 2.0-liter four-cylinder that's efficient yet spirited, and a naturally aspirated 3.6-liter V6 for enthusiasts who want more muscle in their daily commute. The Turbo 4 delivers around 250 horsepower, making it a great choice for budget-conscious buyers, while the V6 pushes closer to 330, giving the Tempest real bite against rivals like the Mustang EcoBoost or Camaro LT1. No, it's not a fire-breathing V8, but it doesn't need to be. This car is about fun and balance, not bragging rights. On the road, the Tempest delivers more than just straight-line speed. Thanks to a lighter chassis and improved suspension tuning, it feels agile and planted. The steering is direct, the cornering is confident, and the car feels alive in your hands. Pontiac didn't just want a drag racer. They wanted something you can toss around on winding back roads and still enjoy on your commute. That's a big part of the Tempest's charm. Of course, compromises exist. The back seats are snug, cargo space is limited, and interior refinement isn't on par with premium brands. But the truth is, this car isn't aiming for perfection. It's aiming for personality, and that's something most affordable cars today don't have. The real moment comes when you push the Tempest to its limits. With the V6, it feels like a proper Pontiac, rev-happy, eager, and playful. It may not match a Dodge Challenger in brute force, but it doesn't need to. The fun comes from the way it engages you, the way it makes every corner feel alive. That's a driving experience that too many modern cars lack, and then comes the price reveal, the true shocker. Starting under $30,000, the new Tempest undercuts most of its direct rivals. Even the V6 version lands well below where muscle and performance cars have drifted in recent years. This is Pontiac's ace, not just performance, but performance you can actually afford. At a time when even entry-level muscle cars are stretching out of reach, the Tempest feels like a lifeline for enthusiasts who thought their options were gone. That's why this isn't just another forgotten nameplate slapped onto a body. This is a turning point, proof that Pontiac hasn't forgotten the drivers who made the brand legendary. So what's the takeaway? The 2026 Pontiac Tempest Reborn is not a perfect car. It doesn't have a V8, it doesn't come with luxury polish, and it won't win every drag race. But it brings something far more important back into the conversation. The idea that muscle-inspired cars can be affordable, approachable, and fun again for new drivers, younger enthusiasts, or anyone who wants a car with attitude that won't empty the bank account. The Tempest could be a dream come true. For hardcore muscle fans who want nothing but maximum horsepower, it won't be enough. But maybe that's exactly what makes the Tempest so significant. It isn't trying to be the biggest, baddest muscle car. It's trying to bring muscle back to the people who miss it most. In the bigger picture, this car might just be Pontiac's boldest move since the GTO. If it succeeds, we could see more forgotten names revived, more accessible performance models hitting the streets, and maybe, just maybe, the beginning of a new golden era for affordable American performance. If it fails, well, at least Pontiac went down swinging, true to its rebellious roots. But here's the real question: would you buy one? Does the Tempest's mix of heritage and modern value hit the sweet spot for you? Or do you think Pontiac should have gone all in with a V8 monster instead? Drop your thoughts below. I want to hear your take. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, smash that like button, subscribe for more deep dives into the latest car launches, and share this video with a fellow gearhead. Because whether you love it or hate it, the Pontiac Tempest's return proves that sometimes the most forgotten legends deserve a second chance. For decades, the Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme was everywhere. It was the car your parents drove, your neighbors showed off. The one that outsold everything else in the 70s and 80s. It was stylish, comfortable, and for many, it was their first taste of what a true American car could be. And then, just like Oldsmobile itself, the name vanished, left behind in the dust of history. But now in 2026, the Cutlass Supreme is back. The big question is, does this all-new version carry the same magic that once made it a legend, or is it just borrowing a famous badge to spark nostalgia? Let's take a closer look. The Oldsmobile brand was once one of America's strongest. It was older than Ford, older than Cadillac, and for a time it defined what innovation and comfort meant in the US auto industry. But by the early 2000s, Oldsmobile faded away, officially discontinued in 2004. For fans, it was the end of an era. And among all its models, the Cutlass Supreme stood out as the crown jewel. It wasn't just a car, it was a cultural phenomenon. From muscle coupes in the late 60s to the sleek, best-selling family cars of the 70s and 80s, the Cutlass Supreme was a household name. So when whispers began about Oldsmobile making a return, many thought it was just a rumor. But here we are. The 2026 Cutlass Supreme has officially been revealed. It carries with it not just the responsibility of being a new car, but the weight of decades of history and expectations. Oldsmobile isn't just launching a car, they're trying to reignite a legacy. From the outside, the all-new Cutlass Supreme manages to strike a careful balance between past and present. It's not a retro caricature, but it's not anonymous modern styling either. The wide front grille takes inspiration from the bold chrome faces of the 70s Supremes, but sharp LED headlights and sculpted details pull it into the modern age. The side profile is sleek, with a long hood, flowing lines, and muscular haunches that give it a confident stance. And at the rear, the wraparound LED taillights echo the iconic design cues that once made the Cutlass instantly recognizable in driveways across America. Step inside, and nostalgia meets modern luxury. The dash design is clean and symmetrical, with digital displays seamlessly blended into a layout that recalls classic Oldsmobile interiors. You'll notice retro-inspired trim touches, brushed aluminum, two-tone leather options, and even small design nods to the 70s models. But make no mistake, this is a fully modern interior. The infotainment system is cutting-edge, the digital cluster is customizable, and comfort is a priority. The seats strike a balance between sporty bolstering and long-distance plushness, just like the original Supremes that were built to cruise. Under the hood, Oldsmobile is offering multiple options to fit today's buyers. The entry-level turbocharged four-cylinder makes the Cutlass accessible, with solid fuel economy and decent performance. A naturally aspirated V6 brings back some of that old-school smoothness and punch, perfect for buyers who want a little more muscle in their daily drive. And the top trim? A performance hybrid V6 setup that delivers over 400 horsepower while still managing efficiency. It's a bold move, one that shows Oldsmobile is willing to adapt heritage into the electrified future, rather than ignoring it. On the road, the Cutlass Supreme feels nothing like the soft, floaty boats of the past. Thanks to a modern chassis and suspension, it feels planted and confident. The steering is sharp, body roll is minimal, and yet the ride quality is comfortable enough to remind you that this is still a Supreme, not a stripped-down sports coupe. It walks the line between luxury cruiser and performance machine, and that balance is exactly what made the original so successful. But here's where things get truly exciting: the drive. Behind the wheel of the hybrid V6, the Cutlass Supreme feels alive in a way few modern cars do. Acceleration is instant, with electric torque filling the gaps while the engine roars to life. Push it into a corner, and it grips confidently, with just enough play to keep things engaging. It doesn't just feel like a car, it feels like an event. The kind of drive that makes you want to take the long way home, just to spend more time with it. And then there's the price reveal. Starting in the mid-$30,000 range, the new Cutlass Supreme is positioned as an attainable car for both nostalgic fans and new buyers. Even the high-performance hybrid comes in well below luxury competitors, making it one of the most accessible heritage-inspired cars on the market. It's stylish, it's powerful, and it doesn't cost six figures, something that can't be said for many modern performance sedans. So, what does the rebirth of the Cutlass Supreme mean? For one, it's proof that forgotten legends don't have to stay forgotten. The 2026 Cutlass Supreme blends the soul of the past with the needs of the present, offering a car that feels familiar yet new. No, it won't please every purist. There's no V8 option, and some will argue it leans too modern. But for the people who just want a car with character, with presence, and with history in its DNA, this could be exactly what the market has been missing. For longtime Oldsmobile fans, it's a chance to see the badge alive again. For younger drivers, it's a chance to step into a car that's more than just transportation. It's a piece of American automotive history brought into the modern day. And for the auto industry, it's a sign that heritage still matters, that storytelling still matters, and that buyers are hungry for cars with meaning, not just specs on paper. The Cutlass Supreme may not be the biggest or the fastest car on the road, but its return is bigger than that. It's symbolic. It's a reminder that cars can be icons, that they can carry memories, and that they can still excite us in an era of SUVs and silent EVs. Whether the 2026 Cutlass Supreme becomes a bestseller or a niche throwback, one thing's for certain. Oldsmobile has officially stepped back into the spotlight. But what do you think? Has Oldsmobile nailed the Cutlass Supreme's rebirth, or do you think they should have left the past alone? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this first look, hit that like button, subscribe for more deep dives into classic nameplates making a comeback, and share this video with anyone who remembers the Cutlass in their driveway, or wishes they had. Because one thing's clear, history has a way of coming back, and sometimes it comes back better than ever. Back in the late 1960s, if you pulled up next to a Chevy Chevelle 396 at a stoplight, you knew you were in for a fight. It wasn't just another car. It was the car that defined an era of raw power, street dominance, and no-nonsense muscle. Fast forward nearly 60 years, and Chevy has done the unthinkable. The Chevelle 396 is back. The question is, can it still live up to the glory days, or is this just another nostalgic cash grab? Let's take a ride back into history and straight into the future. The Chevelle wasn't just a car, it was a cultural phenomenon. Launched in 1964, it quickly became one of Chevrolet's biggest success stories, serving everyone from families to hot rodders. But in 1965, Chevy dropped a bombshell, the Chevelle SS 396. With a big block V8 under the hood, bold styling, and a price tag that didn't require a second mortgage, the SS 396 ignited the muscle car wars. It went toe-to-toe with the Pontiac GTO, Ford Fairlane GT, and Plymouth Roadrunner. And more often than not, it came out on top. For years, the Chevelle 396 was the street king. But as fuel crises hit and emissions regulations choked performance, the Chevelle quietly disappeared, leaving fans clinging to memories and garage-kept classics. For decades, rumors of a revival floated around, but nothing ever materialized until now. Chevy has finally brought the Chevelle 396 back for 2026. This isn't just another retro name slapped on a crossover. This is a true muscle car, re-engineered for a new era. But will it be enough to re-establish Chevy's dominance in the muscle car market? Let's start with what you see first, the design. Chevy knew they had to honor the original, and they didn't hold back. The 2026 Chevelle 396 has that unmistakable long hood, wide stance, and fastback profile that screams muscle. The front grille echoes the classic twin headlamp setup of the late 60s models, but modernized with sharp LED strips. Strong character lines run down the sides, giving it a sense of motion even when parked. And those massive rear haunches? They're pure Chevelle, bold, muscular, and unapologetic. This isn't a car that blends into traffic. It commands attention, just like the original. Inside, Chevy played the nostalgia card smartly. Retro-inspired round gauges sit in front of the driver, but they're digital, customizable, and razor-sharp. A massive central touchscreen blends seamlessly into the dash, offering the latest Chevy infotainment suite, wireless CarPlay and Android Auto, and even built-in track performance monitoring. The seats are available in retro houndstooth patterns or modern leather bolstering, letting buyers choose between old-school charm and modern comfort. And yes, there's a manual transmission option alongside the automatic, giving purists exactly what they wanted. But we know what you're waiting for, what's under the hood. The heart of the Chevelle 396 is a reimagined big block V8, clocking in at 6.5 liters of pure displacement. In its standard form, it cranks out over 500 horsepower. But Chevy didn't stop there. The high-performance SSX package slaps on a supercharger, pushing output north of 700 horsepower, with torque so brutal it feels like the pavement itself might split in half. Rear-wheel drive, aggressive gearing, and launch control mean this thing rockets from 0-60 in as little as 3.4 seconds. For a car that starts under $50,000, that's insane performance. Chevy also added modern handling touches, adaptive magnetic ride control, Brembo brakes, and an advanced limited-slip differential. It's not just a straight-line monster anymore. On winding roads, the Chevelle 396 feels planted, sharp, and surprisingly nimble for a car of its size. In track mode, it tightens up, stiffens the suspension, and sharpens throttle response. In cruise mode, it becomes calm, comfortable, and easy to live with. And for those who want a taste of the past, retro mode dials back the tech, loosens the traction control, and pipes that big block roar straight into your veins. So, how does it actually feel when you drive it? In one word, explosive. The Chevelle 396 doesn't just accelerate, it attacks. Drop the clutch, and you're slammed into the seat as the supercharged V8 roars like a lion breaking free. The tires struggle to hold on. Smoke curls off the rear wheels, and before you know it, you're flying down the strip with a grin plastered across your face. This isn't just performance, it's theater, the kind of drama that modern cars rarely deliver anymore. But here's where the shocker comes in. While it's every bit the muscle car on the track, the new Chevelle is shockingly livable on the street. Long highway cruises? Smooth, quiet, and refined. City driving? Manageable, thanks to modern driver assists. It's the dual personality that makes this car so impressive. It's as if Chevy bottled up the soul of 1969, then engineered it to survive 2026. And when Chevy dropped the price bombshell, $45,000 to start, $65,000 fully loaded, the muscle car world collectively raised an eyebrow. Affordable, powerful, iconic. Three things rarely seen together anymore, but somehow Chevy pulled it off. So what does the return of the Chevelle 396 really mean? It means Chevy hasn't forgotten what made American cars legendary. It's not just about efficiency or tech, it's about emotion, presence, and power that you can feel in your chest. The pros are crystal clear: jaw-dropping design, massive power, a perfect mix of retro and modern, and pricing that makes it attainable for real enthusiasts. The cons: thirsty V8s aren't exactly eco-friendly, and with regulations tightening, the Chevelle's long-term future may be uncertain. But honestly, nobody buys a Chevelle worrying about fuel economy. They buy it because it makes their heart race. For the old-school fans, this is the car you've been waiting decades for. For younger buyers, it's a chance to experience what your parents or grandparents always raved about, but in a package that works in today's world. And for Chevy, it's a shot across the bow of every competitor: Dodge, Ford, even the imports. The message is simple: American muscle isn't dead. In fact, it's louder than ever. So here's the big question. Did Chevy just create the perfect bridge between past and future? Or is the Chevelle 396 simply a last hurrah for gasoline muscle before the EV wave takes over? Let me know what you think in the comments. Would you buy one? Or do you think Chevy should have gone electric? Smash that like button if you enjoyed this deep dive. Subscribe for more first looks at iconic cars reborn. And share this with a friend who needs to hear that muscle isn't going anywhere. Because one thing's for sure, the Chevelle 396 is back, and it's ready to reclaim its throne.